Bitch, child eater, you have refused to give my son a child.
No, please, I am not.
Liar, you are
I'm not.
That's for not giving my son a child. I will deal with you.
You came to shop clothes for a child you will still eat up. You stole from my store.
What? No, I didn't.
Hey, calm down. She's pregnant.
I saw her.
The afternoon sun hung mercilessly over the compound, baking the red earth until it cracked. Ada stood at the entrance of the gate, her wrapper still dusty from the market, a small bag of tomatoes hanging from her wrist. She had barely stepped foot inside before the voice came, sharp, shrill, and deliberate. Look at her. Look at this useless woman entering my compound with her empty womb. Mama Chukwemeka stood in the middle of the yard, arms folded across her chest, eyes burning with a fury that had been cooking for 8 years. The old woman's voice was loud enough for the neighbors to hear, loud enough for the children playing by the fence to stop and stare. 8 years, 8 whole years, and nothing to show for it. Not even a miscarriage, nothing. She clapped her hands together in that slow, deliberate way that meant contempt. My son is married to a tree trunk that cannot bear fruit. Ada said nothing. She stood by the gate, her bag of tomatoes at her side, her eyes cast slightly downward. A tear broke free and traced a quiet line down her cheek, but she did not move. She did not speak. What was there to say? She raised her voice even higher, turning slightly so that Mrs. Obiora next door could hear clearly over the fence. The old woman disappeared into the house for a brief moment, and Ada stood there, not knowing whether to enter or retreat. Before she could decide, Mama Chukwemeka returned, dragging a full bucket of water across the compound floor, the liquid sloshing with each step. Ada saw it, her breath caught. Surely not. But Mama Chukwemeka lifted the bucket and poured the entire contents over her daughter-in-law in one violent cascade. Cold water crashing over Ada's head, soaking her wrapper, her blouse, her hair, and her dignity all at once. The tomatoes fell. Ada gasped, but made no sound beyond that. She stood there, drenched, water dripping from her chin and mixing with the tears on her face, and she still said nothing. She was too broken even for words. That was how Chukwemeka found them when he turned into the compound from his evening walk home from work. His wife standing soaked in the middle of the yard, his mother watching with cold satisfaction. He did not ask questions. He crossed the compound in 5 strides and wrapped his arms around Ada, pulling her into his chest, water and all. He held her tightly, one hand on the back of her head, and he did not let go for a long time. "Come," he said quietly, "come inside." He led her in, sat her down, and crouched before her, taking her cold hands in his warm ones. "Ada, look at me." She lifted her eyes, swollen, red, broken. "I want you to know something, and I want you to hear it clearly. We are in this together, you and I. Whatever comes, whatever doesn't come, we are in this together. You hear me?" She nodded, fresh tears spilling over. He stood, kissed her forehead, and walked back outside. Mama Chukwemeka was sitting on her stool near the kitchen, pretending to sort beans. Chukwemeka stood before her, his voice measured, but firm as iron. "Mama, I respect you, but I will not stand by and watch you humiliate my wife in that manner. Never again. Are we clear?" The old woman looked up at him, her eyes narrowing. "So because of that witch, you are here insulting your own mother? The woman who carried you for 9 months and pushed you into this world? I am not insulting you. I am warning you." He held her gaze a moment longer, then walked away. Mama Chukwemeka watched his retreating back and kissed her teeth. In the months that followed, when Chukwemeka went to work, the compound became a different world. The first cruelty was silence and starvation. Mama Chukwemeka began locking the kitchen. Ada would wake up early to cook before her husband left, but the old woman would wait until he was gone, then remove the pots, hide the foodstuffs, and tell Ada plainly, "A barren woman does not eat in my house. You have not earned food." Ada would go hungry until evening, surviving on whatever small thing she had quietly stashed in the bedroom. A piece of bread, some ground nuts, a banana. She said nothing to her husband when he returned. She only smiled, and asked how his day went. The second cruelty came in the form of words designed to enter a person and rot them from the inside. Every afternoon, Mama Chukwuemeka would summon the compound women, Mrs. Obiora, Mama Tochukwu from across the road, and anyone else willing to sit, and she would hold court. She would sit in the center of the yard, close enough to the window where Ada could hear everything, and she would talk. She would describe Ada's body as cursed. She would tell stories, invented, embellished, cruel, about women like Ada who had been revealed as witches in their village. She would suggest that Ada had made a covenant with a spirit, that she traded children for wealth or youth. She would say it all with the calm authority of a woman who had decided what the truth was. Inside, Ada would press her back against the wall and close her eyes and hold herself together with both arms. The third cruelty was the most public. One Wednesday, Ada was returning from the Church Women's Fellowship when Mama Chukwuemeka called out to her from the gate, loud enough for the street to hear. "Come and kneel down and beg this compound to forgive you for bringing your barrenness here." Ada stopped walking. A small crowd had begun to gather. Children, a few idlers, the bread seller across the road. Ada stood there trembling, then turned and walked calmly back into the house, without kneeling, without running, without breaking. But she sat on the edge of the bed for 2 hours after that, staring at the floor, before she could stand again. The pregnancy came like a quiet miracle on an ordinary morning. The doctor confirmed it, and Ada sat in the car afterwards, her hand pressed flat against her stomach, afraid to feel too much joy in case it cost her something. Mama Chukwuemeka announced it before Ada had told her own mother. The old woman went from door to door, compound to compound, with the news riding on her tongue, though the version she told was edged with a warning. "She is pregnant again. Let us wait and see. A witch cannot hide forever." When Ada walked to the clinic for antenatal care, women would pause and call out to her. Some meant well. "Praise God, Ada. This time it will hold. We are praying for you, my sister." But others, emboldened by years of Mama Chukwuemeka's narrative, would say things that dressed themselves as blessings but cut like knives. We just hope she doesn't eat this one again, oh. God will expose whatever is happening in that worm." Ada would smile. She would say thank you. She would walk on, and only her shoes knew how heavy each step was. 9 months came, and the baby did not cry. The doctor's face said it before his mouth did, and Ada turned her face to the wall and made a sound that had no name. Not a scream, not a sob, but something in between, the sound of a person discovering the edges of how much pain a body can contain. Mama Chukwuemeka spread the news by nightfall. "Did I not say it? Did I not tell you all? She ate the child, she is a witch, and now you have seen it." That night, long after the house had gone quiet, Ada slipped outside. She lowered herself onto her knees on the bare earth, lifted her face to the sky, and she cried out to God. "Why have you forsaken me? What have I done? Where are you?" She did not pray politely. She cried, she argued, she bargained. She wept until her chest ached and her throat was raw, and there was nothing left inside her but the question. At the doorway, Chukwuemeka stood watching. He watched her for a moment, this woman he had chosen, broken open on the ground before God, and he felt something in his own chest that had no name either. He walked out and knelt beside her. He did not say that everything would be fine. He did not make promises that were not his to make. He simply put his arm around her shoulder and said, "I am here. We are in this together." The second time when Ada became pregnant again, she wore it quietly, like something fragile wrapped in cloth. But it didn't matter. The belly began to speak for itself, and the town had not forgotten. At the market, a woman she had never spoken to looked at her stomach and said, "Is that not the woman who eats her children? See how she is walking around buying baby things, as if she doesn't know what she will do to it." Chukwuemeka tightened his grip on Ada's hand. He turned to the woman and looked at her long enough to make her look away. Then he turned back to Ada. "What else do we need to buy?" he asked, as if the woman had said nothing at all. As if the whole market had said nothing at all. That was how he loved her. Not with speeches, but with constancy. The morning Ada was to be admitted, she knelt beside the bed before the sun rose fully. Chukwuemeka stood in the doorway and watched her lips move. She said, Lord, I am not asking for anything I have not asked before. But I am asking one more time. If you are still God, if you are still who you say you are, please come through for me today. Not for them, for you. Show yourself. Then she rose, picked up her bag, and walked to the door. Outside the labor ward, Chukwuemeka sat alone on a bench, his elbows on his knees, his face in his hands. He prayed the way men pray when they are terrified, but trying not to show it. God, please, not again. Please, do not shame us again. He did not know how much time passed. He was still praying when he heard the door open and looked up. The doctor walked toward him, and Chukwuemeka searched the man's face the way a drowning man searches for land. The doctor smiled. Congratulations, your wife delivered a bouncing baby boy. What happened next, Chukwuemeka would not be able to explain to anyone with full dignity. He stood up, he shouted, he jumped once, twice, he ran out of the corridor, into the open hospital yard, and shouted at the sky, arms wide open. He dropped to his knees, then rolled over laughing and crying at the same time. An old man passing by stopped to look at him with concern. A nurse came to the door and covered her mouth with laughter. Chukwuemeka did not care. He lay on that hospital ground and sobbed openly, the way men who have been strong for too long sometimes collapse when the reason to be strong finally arrives. Back at the compound, evening had brought its usual quiet. Mama Chukwuemeka sat in her chair near the door, arms folded, lost somewhere in her thoughts. She was waiting, the way she had waited the last time, already composing in her head what she would say, how she would say it, which neighbors she would tell first. She heard the gate. She did not move from her chair, but her eyes shifted. Chukwuemeka walked in first. His face was different. His whole body was different, like a man who had been carrying something enormous and had finally set it down. Behind him, Ada walked slowly, carefully, a small wrapped bundle held against her chest. The crying of an infant broke the compound's silence, like light through a crack. Mama Chukwuemeka's arms unfolded slowly. She stood up from her chair without knowing she was standing. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Her eyes found the bundle. The bundle moved. The bundle cried again, small and new and alive. Tears began to fall down the old woman's face, not the hot, righteous tears of anger she had spent 8 years producing. These came from somewhere deeper and older, from a place beneath all the cruelty and the noise and the names she had called this woman, the place where she was simply a grandmother, and the God she thought had gone quiet had chosen this evening, this compound, this moment, to answer. She sat back down. She covered her mouth with her hand. God of the dying minute had risen, and he had not asked for anyone's permission.